Welcome back, everybody, to 3 Point Lines here on the Parlay. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, alongside my co-host, Noor, Zainab, and we are back on this fine Friday with more NBA games to digest, discuss, and give you our picks. We're going to be making our picks for every single game tonight against the spread. Last night was a good night for me. I went 4-7 to now bring my overall record to 54% of getting my picks correct. And Noor and I were right about one thing, and that was the Raptors not covering that big spread against the Pistons, as Dwayne Casey and company not only cover the spread, but they won the game outright. So you would have made a lot of money if you were ballsy enough to take the Pistons on the money line. But Noor, at least we got that one right, and your record's not looking too bad either going into this Friday.
I thought yours was going to be way better because I looked back at the record and I was like, okay, Luca had a freaking phenomenal night. It almost looked like he went perfect. But for me, yeah, Mavericks came through. Obviously, the Pistons came through and Dwayne Casey. I was telling this yesterday too. If you want to get an early tax return, bet on Dwayne Casey against the Raptors. It's easiest money you will ever make. It's his NBA Finals. And that's what he did last night.
It's crazy. I have no words for it. Anytime Casey plays the Raptors, take Dwayne Casey. That's the learning lesson in all of this. Let's get into tonight's games. We got a couple games on tap, and we're first going to start here with the Hawks taking on the Wizards. The Hawks were victorious last night. I did not see that one coming. They're going to be in the second night of their back-to-back, taking on a Washington team that's been going the other way recently.
I did not either. Hawks did beat the Bulls in Atlanta last night, and they'll be on a back-to-back traveling to Washington for this matchup. I did have the Bulls to win last night, but Trae Young dropped 39. They came clutch, and tonight they take on the Wizards. But the Hawks have done this before. They beat Cleveland and turned around to beat Orlando the next day. But it is tempting to take Wizards since they do have home court advantage here, and they did beat Pistons. And they beat Pistons there on Tuesday, who just beat the Raptors. But Hawks have been playing really, really well recently. They have covered the spread as a favorite in their last 4 games, and Wizards have actually lost their last 6 as a home underdog. Trae dropped 39 points last night, and I think that this is the kind of guy who just doesn't really get tired day in after day out, and he probably wants to have another big night tonight. He's young, he's fresh, he can do whatever he wants. So give me the Hawks. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this Hawks team is starting to surge at the right time. The Wizards, they are going to be at home, but they're just 5-16-1 against the spread in their last 22 home games and 16-33-2 in their last 51 games overall. That is against the spread, of course. And the Hawks, I know they haven't proven to be a trustworthy team, but this is a team that has looked better overall lately. They are coming into this game healthier, and they have won each of their last 5 games by an average of 8.6 points. So it's not too high of a price to pay here. Give me the Hawks as well on the road, -4.5.
Alrighty, sticking to the Eastern Conference theme, we've got a pretty decent game tonight where the Cavs take on the new Philly, where Philly is favored by -7.5. Are you going to ride with the newest duo in the NBA?
I'm not tonight. I'm actually going to go with the Cavaliers. I know they haven't looked good lately, 1-4 over the last 5 games, but this is still a defense that ranks 11th in the NBA in defensive rating. That's over their last 10 games. And they did welcome back Darius Garland last game, so he's going to be a bit more healthier and ready for this matchup. And for as dynamic as the Sixers have looked, they were down early in that game against the Knicks, and the Knicks have been the laughing stock of the league. And you're talking about a Cleveland team that, yes, they're facing some adversity. Yes, they have kind of taken a step back, but this is still a very good Cleveland team that gets it done on both ends. So I think this is going to be a fun matchup. I have Philly winning, but I can see Cleveland keeping this one close. So I like Cleveland, pardon me, +7.5.
Yeah, this is super interesting because on one side you have this new dominating Eastern Conference themes, that team that's just taking over everyone's narrative, while you have the Cavaliers who pretty much were running the Eastern Conference and now who are kind of taking a slow chill back and figuring out what they look like. But you mentioned it. Garland is back and Tobias Harris did not participate in today's shoot around. But for tonight, he is listed as questionable. And ever since the All-Star break, I think Cleveland has been kind of has not been playing like their old selves. They have not been the team that we have looked at, that we have talked about since the beginning of the year. They've got 5 losses in their last 6 games, including a blowout over the Hornets. And on the road in Philadelphia against the team and those fans, don't forget those fans, that's a tough ask. The
Yeah.
Sixers have won 6 of their last 7, and when everyone is healthy, this looks like a team that's ready to contend. And these two teams did meet on February 12th, where Philly saw a win by 10 points. Sixers actually had no Harden for that one, and Cavs had Garland. They both were in different positions. So I think tonight it is a big spread, but the timing of everything matters. And right now, Philly's able to in a position where they should be able to beat this team by 8. So I'm actually going to disagree with you here and ride with Philly.
All right, we'll see what happens. Yeah, the Cavaliers have definitely struggled, so let's see if they could get back on track or if we're going to see more of the dynamic duo shine. Next game, we got Pacers taking on the Pistons, and the Pacers are 3-point favorites here. So, yeah, this is another one of those basement dwelling games that you like to bet on or talk about.
And honestly, if Detroit loses this one after giving us the L last night, we will know Dwayne Casey plays NBA for just Toronto. He's in the league right now just for the Raptors. Indiana might not have Chris Duarte, who's listed as questionable, and without Sabonis and Turner, they'll have a pretty hard time producing on both ends, as they kind of have been recently. Pistons, though, have been on a roll. Like, I'm not sure if they think they're able to make a playoff push at this point, but they've covered 5 straight by beating teams like Boston, Cleveland, and then obviously the Raptors as heavy underdogs. They're obviously done with the playoff spot, but it looks like they've secured the top 5 pick, and they just want to spend the rest of the season getting their guys ready for matchups, for wins, and just getting them ready for the next couple of years where hopefully Casey can one day win a ring with this team. So I'm going to actually ride with the Pistons here because they were a good bet last night. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. If the Pistons don't win this game, I'm convinced Dwayne Casey literally just tries against one team in the association. I do like Detroit tonight. I think this is a good spot for them. I know they're on the second night of a back to back, but they have been playing really well lately. They're 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games. While Indiana, they've just been a mess. They've been horrible overall this month, and they've lost on the road by an average of 5.8 points. So that's above this spread. And Detroit has put together a couple of nice wins. They've had a quiet campaign lately, and they're coming off of a nice upset win over the Raptors, so they should be feeling good about that. But yeah, we've seen in the past when the Pistons beat the Raptors, they usually follow that up with bad basketball. I'm going to go against the
Mhm.
grain on that, and yeah, I agree with you, Noor. I think the Pistons will show up here at home, and they will cover that 3.
Let's see what Dwayne Casey does tonight. A lot of questions will be answered tonight thanks to this basketball game. Now we've got another Eastern Conference special. Might be the game of the night with the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Chicago Bulls. I'm still gonna not gonna lie to you, up in the air about this one. Gonna let you have this first, Luca. Who's gonna win this?
Yeah, let's talk about the Bucks here. I know a lot of people have them still as the favorites, the darlings in the East until they get knocked off their throne. But you look at the Bucks lately; they have failed to cover in 6 of their last 7 games. They have a 16-13 record when playing on the road, and they barely squeaked out a win against this Bulls team. Last time out, it was a 94-90 victory, and that's a game that had no Zach LaVine on the floor. Zach LaVine is going to be on the floor along with DeMar DeRozan, along with Nikola Vucevic, who can very much try to limit Giannis's attack to the rim. So I like Chicago in this spot. They're at home. I'm getting points. I think Chicago has to stand up. They got to prove to people that this is a team that's legitimate. We've seen it so many times. Chicago in these big game moments, they choke. They don't look themselves. They get blown out as they did the other night against Miami. I think they really have to show up here to prove to people that they are legit. So I like Chicago here as I wouldn't be surprised if they could maybe pull off the upset, but I won't get that greedy. I'll just take them +5.
Yeah, I think this is a point right now where you're right. People don't know what to think of the Bucks just because they have been that dominating team, but as of recently, we haven't seen that slide of them yet. But against Chicago, I've been at a point where I'm like, I know Bucks are the more well-rounded, have more experienced team, but Bulls, I just you can't knock out that roster. There's still no Ball, Caruso, Hill, or Lopez for either of these teams, but outside of that, the gang's intact. They're both dominating Eastern Conference teams that have been going through rough patches as of late. So at this point, it's pretty much about who can bounce back first. Bulls just flew back home after playing Atlanta last night, so there is somewhat of a rest factor there, and they have lost 3 straight. But Bucks are not far behind. You mentioned it; they haven't covered the spread in their last 6, in 6 of their last 7. Sorry, and they also have a 16-13 record when they're playing on the road. Now, Bulls probably will have a hard time, obviously, with Giannis on the board, which who doesn't have a hard time with Giannis on the board, but which there should make it pretty competitive. And I think this is when Debo and Levine kind of initiate team bounce back and they bring this team back to where this is supposed to be. So for tonight, based off of how the Bucks have been playing, not to say any slight against the Bucks, they probably could still win this year if they wanted to. But as of right now, for today, I like DeMar DeRozan and the Bulls, so give me the Bulls.
All right, we agree on that one. Next game, can the Raptors bounce back at home in front of a packed crowd as they take on the lowly Magic?
I don't know. I stood there for so long, Luca. I couldn't tell you about this spread. That's a crazy spread. A -8 after getting beat by Pistons last night. So I don't know what Vegas is thinking. But OG is out. There's been no word on Fred just yet, but I'm assuming he's not going to play tonight because he did not play last night. If you're not playing against Dwayne Casey's new team, you're not going to be playing against Orlando Magic. I'm sorry. Thaddeus Young is out. So is David Johnson and DJ Wilson. They're all day to day for this one. And Magic won't have Fultz Wagner, which is a pretty big blow to them since he's been producing pretty well on the offensive end. But that pretty much leaves Cole Anthony, Suggs, and Terrence Ross against Toronto. And after losing to Detroit last night as heavy favorites and unsure of their roster, I don't know if tonight will be a decisive victory for them. They're missing guys. They're on a back-to-back after losing, and this Magic team beat the Pacers after taking them to OT and losing in it afterwards. So I'm actually going to give the incentive here to the Magic to be able to cover, but hopefully the Raptors can still win this. So I'm still a happy person at the end of this. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going Orlando +8. I don't trust the Raptors in the spot. Second out of back-to-back. They didn't look good last night. We don't know if Fred's going to be out there. OG's not going to be out there. And remember, last time these two teams played, the Raptors barely won. They won that game by 1 point. You're talking about a Magic team that they're playing with house money and they just want to see what the young guns can give them. Cole Anthony, I think, is due for a big game in the spot. Suggs actually had a really good game the
Suggs,
last
yeah.
time out when these two teams met. So yeah, I think this is a spot where the underdog Magic can turn some heads, and the Raptors are usually one of those teams that they don't look good against teams that they should absolutely take care of business against. So I think this is going to be unfortunately another reminder of that. So yeah, give me Orlando +8. I think it's way too many points for the home side.
Prove us wrong, Toronto. Prove us wrong. On the other side, in the Western Conference, we have got tonight the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the OKC, where another big spread. Timberwolves are favored by -9.5. How are you feeling?
Yeah, this is a tough one to go with because you look at Minnesota; they've been playing really well. They came off of that nice signature win against the Warriors. Cat's been looking dominant, but I look at this game; they're on the road and they're going up against an OKC team that you just can't quite figure out. I mean, this is one of the best teams in the NBA at covering the spread. So I think I'm going to take the points here. I liked what I saw from
Ooh,
OKC last time out. I mean, they not only covered, but they beat the Nuggets outright. And that was a Nuggets team that came into that one on a 6-game
yeah.
winning streak. So Minnesota on the road, laying 9.5, too big of a number for me. I think they do win, but I'm going to pass on them. I'm taking OKC.
Yeah, honestly, I'm the exact same. I was actually had Minnesota to win earlier, but after I saw the game last night, I was like, how do you beat this team and come up against the Wolves? And again, you mentioned it, they're at home. They do have a very massive injury report with no Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Ty Jerome, Aaron Wiggins, Derek Favors, Kenrick Williams. Pretty much everyone on the roster leaves you Shea on the court at that point. But I think you mentioned it, being at home, having that record that they do against the spread, and just Shea being Shea. And this Minnesota team that obviously has been playing very well as of recently, but we know that they still have shortcomings, they still have faults. And I'm hoping that somehow, somewhere, OKC can figure out what those are and at least pound them for it somewhere. And at that point, I think that even if Minnesota wins, OKC should be able to cover, hopefully win by less than 9 points. So I'm going to go with OKC here too. And let's see if the math actually favors for us here.
All right. Next game, we got the Jazz taking on the Pelicans. Big game in the Western Conference. You got a Pelicans team trying to stay in the play-in, and the Jazz are still trying to move on up. So who do you got in the spot?
This is such a good one. I think this is the game that we should all be watching tonight, just in the Western Conference team. And we already know Utah just went to OT with a very clearly tanking Rockets on Wednesday. So I am scared for them. I don't know what this team looks like right now. And since they will be going up against the Pelican teams that turn their ways around since the addition of McCollum, so this makes this Pelicans team, who have been playing on a pretty decent trajectory as of lately as well, a sight for scary eyes for Utah, because Utah has not, ever since Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert have been back in the lineup, they have been playing like themselves again. But you still worry about this team here and there, because the West, as we have talked about it before, there's so much parity, there's so much room for improvement, and so many places that teams can just kind of pull themselves up. But for this one, this is a 2 possession spread here, and I'm inclined to go with the Jazz just because they are the healthier team that's been consistently good forever. So they do have experience on their side. But Pelicans should make this one pretty interesting. It's literally just because of the depth and because of the health of Gobert and Mitchell that I'm going to go with the Jazz here. But
Yeah.
I think somewhere down the line, maybe a couple weeks from now, maybe Pelicans can take a team like the Jazz once they figured out what this roster really looks like and they've had the time to gel together with McCollum and JV and everybody else. So for tonight, give me the Jazz. But moving forward, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think because it is only a 2 possession game, I'm more comfortable taking the Jazz because you look at what they've been able to do overall. They've won 9 of their last 10. They do have that duo in the lineup. And for as good as the Pelicans have looked, which included a 30-point win on Wednesday, I think they're not where the Jazz are just yet. I mean, this is a Jazz team that
Yeah.
is getting hot at the right time. They're surging at the right time. They're looking like their former selves. And this is a game where they are going to be motivated. They are going to be bringing their guns to the table because this is a team that I feel they thrive against stiffer competition. We saw it in that big win against the Suns on Sunday. The Jazz rise to the occasion, and I think they're going to be meeting a Pelicans team that's going to try to test them. So the Jazz will be engaged. They will not let down here, and I think it will be enough for them to cover the spread. So I agree. I like Jazz in the spot.
Alrighty, you heard it here first. We've got another game in the Western Conference tonight with the Houston Rockets taking on the Nuggets. Another big spread.
Yeah.
Nuggets are favored by -13.5. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, it's very big. I was surprised. I mean, I know the Rockets are a mess right now. 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 road games, 9-23 against the spread in their last 32 games overall. But the Nuggets, they're not a team that covers these big spreads. They're a good team. They win games, but they're 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 home games, including getting upset by the Thunder on Wednesday night. And
Yeah.
Houston, they've actually kept games really close in 2 of their last 3. They lost all those 3 games, but at least they kept it close in 2 of those games, and they had an opportunity to win one of them. So, yeah, this is too big of a spread for me. I know they're on the road. I know Houston looks looks like one of the worst teams in the NBA, but I can't lay a touchdown with the Denver Nuggets. I can't. I got to go with Houston here. I think they're going to have a nice backdoor cover.
You mentioned it. I think the Vegas insiders are not looking at you and I, because we have been following each game every single day, and we know that these teams are not who they want us to think they are.
Yeah.
Denver just lost to OKC. Houston was an OT with the Jazz. These are huge spreads for 2 teams that have kept it close or have been losing disappointingly for the past week. And yeah, for tonight, Houston has gone to OT with the Jazz on Wednesday. So this is a pretty big spread in my opinion. And Nuggets has also lost to the Thunder when everyone had picked them to win. So did I, and I got burned that day. But Denver should win this matchup tonight. I think they should be able to come out with a victory. But winning by 14 after losing to OKC and Houston giving Jazz some competition, I think they can at least make the margin of L less than 13 points. So I'm going to take the Rockets for this one.
Yeah, we'll see if we are right on that pick. And then the final game of the night, we got the Knicks taking on the Suns. Suns -6.5. I was wondering why the spread was as low as it was, and then I realized Devin Booker is out. So does that change your opinion about this game?
If it wasn't the Knicks, maybe, because it's the Knicks. No, not really. Even without Book and CP3, the whole team dancing. They were dancing to, I think, NBA YoungBoy as
Yeah.
opposed to practicing during warmups, and they beat the Blazers by 30. They didn't
Yeah.
have to do that. And granted, Blazers are struggling, but Cameron Payne and Aaron Holiday will take over the playmaking responsibilities as they already pretty much have, and they're combined for 17 assists in the absence of Chris Paul. If Booker is back today, this will be a pretty comfortable defeat for them, but I think his COVID test has been inconclusive, so we will see what happens. But yeah, if he's back, it's going to be a beating. But even if he's not, Knicks could make it a game, but I'm still going to go with the Suns on this one. I think they're the best team for a reason, and the guys will figure it out even if they're without Devin Booker for one more game here. So give me the Suns. How about you?
Yeah, it's sad how much the Knicks have regressed. If this was last year, they would have been expected to win this game, and they probably would have been favored in a game like this without CP3 and Book. But Phoenix still minus 6.5 point favorites. Yeah, I'm gonna be taking them. I think guys like Cameron Johnson, Bridges, Crowder, they're gonna have good game spacing the floor. Still have Aiden in the middle, who is gonna do a bunch of wonders for the Suns, and he's gonna give a ton of headaches to guys like RJ and Randall. So yeah, I don't like the Knicks going into Phoenix. Phoenix has been one of the best home teams in all of the NBA. They continue to cover the spread. They continue to get it done. The Knicks are going the other way. They've lost 15 of their last 18 games. I can't see them keeping this game close, even with Phoenix's two best players. So give me the Suns. I'm riding with that.
Oh, there you have it. You heard it here first today. Both Luca and mine pick for tonight's evenings, NBA matchups, plus what the spread will look like. And we will see you here every single day at 3 p.m. starting next week, Monday to Friday, just as we had been this week. I'm ending this week off with 51%. Luca has 54%, so he kicked my ass this week. Good job, Luca. Handshake right here. But we will catch you again on Monday with our favorite picks once again. You know where to find us. All of our socials at the Parlay, as well as Parlay TV. And we will see you bright in the afternoon on Monday. Take care.